All right, guys, I want to thank you all for having me in again. We're going to talk about Presonus StudioLive, the control of it over software, and the recording aspect of the board. Now, I know you guys have been through some of the training before, so if it's new, I'm helping you. If it's something you know already, I'm very sorry. Tell me shut up and move on, but hopefully it's some good information. And maybe it's something we did talk about before, but you just didn't quite remember. The goal obviously is that you got the features at the tip of your tongue, and that we are adding new features to this on a regular basis. So one of the things I like to do right off the bat is just go like this. Close the laptop. Because how many computers does it take to use this thing? Really? None. It works just fine as a mixer on its own. This is one of 3 mixers that we have. This is the big one. This is the 24 mic line, 4 subgroup, 2 main, 1 on the other mixer, and you get 48 channels of live, but it no longer is a recording interface. There's just not enough bandwidth over FireWire. But standalone, this thing's a 24 channel mixer and a 24 channel FireWire recording interface. Its little brother, let's say middle child, is the 16 channels, 4 subgroups, 2, couple less auxes, 6, and then the 1602, which is 8 mic lines, Smartiers, 0 subgroups, but we move the subgroups down to here. They're actual faders instead of knobs. I'm sorry, auxes. There's 0 subgroups, it's auxes. We move the auxes down here, 2. And then that's a recording interface as well, but it's a standalone unit. The middle child, the 1642, stands alone as a 16-channel recording interface or live board, and when you put 2 of them together, daisy-chained via a FireWire cable, it's 32 channels of live mixing or 32 channels of recording interface. So on a normal mixing board, you're used to something that's about this long, right? You're going to see a gain, a phase reverse, a high-pass filter, your EQ, your auxes. Well, what we did on this is just take it, fold it in half, and put it right here. And that's the blue section called the fat channel. So anywhere you see on this board blinking a blue light is this EQ. So that is on each one of the channels, each one of the subgroups, the mains, the aux inputs, analog aux inputs, all of the aux inputs auxes up here, and the effects. So think about that. This really would be a board that's, maybe down to here, up to here. It's a lot of real estate. Yet, whenever you select a channel, you see the blue light here, plus you see the red light there. So it's kind of easy, first off, to see what channel am I on. 2. The number's there plus the blue light. But when you do that, this becomes your channel strip. So let's walk down the channel strip. Coming in through channel 1, you have your gain right here. This is your phantom power. And we're going to skip past this. This is a FireWire symbol. We're going to skip past this for right now until we talk about the board in a little bit different light. But then we come over to here. This is your adjustable high-pass filter. You'll notice it starts out in off, and then you can select what frequency you want. There's a phase reverse. Per channel, you can also assign it to the digital out. Per channel, you get a gate, compressor, limiter, and EQ. Now in the 1642 and the 1602, it's still a good EQ, but we've limited out one of the sections, or the fact that you get the additional control on it. Coming down to this section here, we get panning, left or right. You can link the 2 channels, either for hard panning, or it's assignable as a expander, or I believe a gate, that you can all do through this screen. Now, for example, channel 1 is a vocal, and you have 6 more vocals that you would like to do, and pretty much a guy sings like a guy and a girl sings like a girl. They're all pretty much going to be the same, plus or minus what mic and how well they sing and all that kind of stuff, but your gain stage isn't going to change per much. So you can really just go to copy. Now it's asking me, what channels do you want to load? Okay. Now it's saying load. and you save, and you're done. Just like a good old-fashioned analog mixer, if you don't have this channel assigned to any of the outs, such as subgroups or a main, you get no audio. And sometimes you want to do that if you want to send your audio only out through an aux, you know, to a video, or it's coming through the digital out, the SBDIF out, perhaps for recording or video or something else. Sometimes you wouldn't want a channel assigned to one of those. But then, just like every other channel, you get solo in place, and that comes through the headphones. Now, if you are using this as more of a recording board, you come over here, and you actually have to hold your solo in place down so it comes through the mains. That's so you don't actually accidentally do that during the middle of a live show. When you solo in place during a live show, and you have that red button on, even your mains are just going to go to, if that's a vocal, that's the only thing coming through the mix. Not so good. And then just like every other board, there's a mute button. A standard fader. Okay? So we pretty much now know what this top strip is about, other than the FireWire button, the blue section, and down to the channel. On this board we have 10 auxes. How do you do your auxes? Well, just like you would select down here, you come up here, and then you press the mix button. And this is how you would make your auxes. If you'll notice on the board, you have these little numbers right here below these LED lights. 24 channels. I've selected aux 1. Let's go ahead and give a little bit of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll skip that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just made an aux mix. Okay? This is how much we're sending out to that aux out. So it's the same for all of these. Now, you will notice that every other channel has a double mix pan on the button, because there are such things known as stereo mixes for your auxes, or stereo in-ear monitors and all that kind of stuff. So what you would do is come down here and go link, and now these two are married. So now this no longer is the drive or the gain to the aux out. This is the panning for these two linked together, and then this is how much you're turning up that stereo aux. Kind of cool. And by the way, again, you see that blue light, so you get this fat channel on your aux. So how would you suppose that works for an FX? Same way, right? Hit select, mix, and I want to send channel 1 to whatever this is, a reverb or a delay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're good to go. Cool? So that pretty much defines what we're doing with the rest of this board. Let's come over here and check out this fun screen. All right, well, the goal of this is, again, on and more. Easy board to use. Now, I'm kind of flying through this because I know some of us have already been through this. I want to get into the computer control of it. But again, just review what we've done with this thing. When you press the effects button, this now is your screen and window into the world of effects. So basically, you have two effects, A and B. And when you page down, it brings you first to the A effects menu, where you can make some changes. Then the B effects menu. And you can actually then go in and change the name. There's user presets that you can make, or presets that are factory. It's whatever you want to do. Then the next selection for this is, oh, and by the way, there's a tap button. So you can tap the speed of your delay to match the tempo of the song. It sounds really groovy when you do that on vocals or a snare or djembe, my favorite. Now, the other thing that this board has is scenes, some 80 scenes. And how do you pull one up? You go to scene, turn the encoder knob right there till the scene you want comes, and hit recall. That's all you got to do. Now, for example, you made some changes. You want to change that scene, you just hit store. System button, basically you page down again, and this is where you can start changing things that are more of the operations or system of the board. You can start making your auxes pre or post. You can change the sampling rate of the board from 44.1 to 48. You can change the SPDIF out from the mains to something else. This is also where, if you're daisy chaining two boards, you have to make one board, the master, board 1, the second, board 2. Also, when you do that, you can also subgroup. Yep.
Do you have to do that on both boards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The master has to be 1.
And then you have to go to the slave and make that 2.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
If you notice here, out of the box, it just says 0. And it'll say 0 even if you hook them up. You have to physically go in and do that.
Okay.
So you can have those local to the board, or one of the master board be in charge of both of those, global or local to the board. In paging down also, one of the things that I think we've added since I last did a training was delay on the subgroups. I think it's some 500 milliseconds. So if you had, for example, your mains, and then your subs about 12, 15 feet in front of the stage, just because that's the way it went down, delay those back at 15, 18 milliseconds, so they time align with your mains, and you're good to go. If you even had some delay speakers on the side of the stage or something else like that to tighten up your whole sound. That's a huge feature we were getting asked for right out of the box when we started shipping this thing. This we've added. And that's another quick side note. Firmware updates are always free. It's the type of thing that if it's working right now, don't do it, especially like day of show. Wait till day after the show, because guaranteed for some reason, even though Presonus has got a really good track record, you'll lose something you worked hard on with your team. It's something goofy could happen. But anyway, that's just me speaking there. You can also, though, lock this board. And you can lock not only the faders, but the masters, the aux mixes, and the scene recall. So this way, for example, you are using the iPad control, and you're not near the board. And some pesky person comes by and goes, and you're halfway across sitting with your family, the theater, enjoying yourself until everything goes berserk. This locks them out. And that's done through a code where you type these select buttons in a certain order. Please read the user manual to figure that one out, because you lock the board, you lock the board. And then your firmware build. These cool little blinky lighty things are neat because they have dual purposes as well. When you touch the first one, these meters become your input meters. What I'm doing is opening up a capture session, and I'm using this to hit play. Now, this is where these lights become effective. When you have the FireWire plugged into the back of the mixer, that comes with a FireWire 800 and FireWire 400 cable. Just depends on what computer you're plugging it into. We will even work with those little mini FireWires that are like on the sides of your cameras. You just need a FireWire adapter to take it down that little thing. It just doesn't provide power over that FireWire cable, but we're not looking for that. With some of the smaller interfaces that are bus powered, you need the bigger ones. But anyway, to get audio passing, and this thing basically working almost like a Y splitter, an A to D conversion, you just press these buttons, and now anything coming through this channel is now also being sent out or receiving through FireWire. So I come back to here and hit my input meters. This would be the equivalent, if these weren't lit, of all our microphones coming in from the band. Okay? Well, this also then can give me my output if these were assigned to a main and we had signal going out. This also shows me my gain reduction per channel. Okay. This also shows me if I had anything going out to auxes, which I don't. We can do that really quick. Okay. Then we go to locate. Now, locate is a function for the faders. Where was the last time I mixed and where was the fader? Well, when you hit recall the scene, it recalls all your EQ and auxes and effects settings, all that sort of stuff. Not the gain, because you always got to set the gain. The mic could be a different mic, a different length cable, a different placement on a drum or a guitar or something like that. But where was the fader? And when you hit locate and the fader is then returned to the place that it was the last time that scene was saved, you'll notice how the little lights come up. And it locates the fader. Kind of cool? The last segment on the board is just this tiny section right here. Now, we have two analog aux inputs that, again, you can get the fat channel on. And this is the gain for those two. We have Talkback. And you can either pick auxes 1 or 2, 3 or 6, 7 and 10, talk through your mains. And it's a push and latch to talk. Okay? Over here is our monitor outs. We have main. Or you can notice right there, there's a FireWire symbol as well. We can monitor via through the FireWire or back, okay? Your headphones, it's through either the RCAs in the back, which is your tape inputs, or solo in place, or solo out that specific tape. Your 2-track in, I'm sorry, that's your solo for the headphones. This is your 2-track tape, which is an RCA. Who uses tape anymore? But you can also hook up iTunes or Windows Media and go through your FireWire cable, so you don't have to drag a standalone nameless CD player, mini disc, DVD player, whatever you want. So between this and this, there's all your playback, your recording, your effects, and all that kind of stuff. And then also your cue for pre-fader level or solo in place when you're looking at a channel. This also has built-in graphic EQ. And when you press that, there are 4 stereo or 8 mono. When you press this, this now becomes, if you remember the old standard analog 31-band graphics, and you've got this single RU that's this wide, and then all these little faders on the front of it. Well, that's what these become. So you scroll along, and then you can either turn that up or down. And you can assign that 31-band to any of the outs. Kind of cool? That's, I think, new also since we last time did this. So that, in a nutshell, is the mixer.